Hello, my name is Candace Chambers, and this is my lesson plan sections 4 through 6. Under Section 4 Activities, I will begin the lesson by introducing the Library Media Specialist and allowing him or her to explain proper computer use. I will then lecture the students with collaboration with the Library Media Specialist and provide modeling of each part of the lesson, including locating sources online or within the library itself. I will provide guided practice as a whole group, in which there will be a question and answer segment. Students will be given a worksheet for independent practice, in which they will list 3 sources, 1 textual online, 1 textual from a book, and 1 visual or audio source. Students will then be asked to provide a summary of each source. I will summarize the lesson at the close of class and review with the students as a whole group the information we covered and what they should have learned. Formative assessment will occur during independent practice, in which I will be observing students as they complete the worksheet and using anecdotal notes for any difficulty students have with the objectives. I have chosen to introduce the Library Media Specialist at the start for those students who are not familiar with the library, and to allow the Library Media Specialist an opportunity to explain proper computer use. I will use lecture in collaboration with the Library Media Specialist to introduce the material and provide modeling to show the students what I expect of them and what they will need to do and how to do it. Independent practice will give the students an opportunity to practice the skills taught, as well as the chance to locate the resources they can use for their final presentation at the end of this unit. Summarizing the lesson will provide the students a quick review of the material we covered to help them learn the information. I will be using observation as formative assessment tool, as well as answering any questions students may have to determine if learning objectives were reached. Section 5, Materials and Resources. I will be using several materials or resources for this lesson, and these include a smartboard or a computer projector. This will be used by myself and the Library Media Specialist to teach the lesson. A PowerPoint on computer will also be used by myself to teach the lesson. Pencils will be used by students during independent practice. Computers will be used by myself, the Library Media Specialist, and students. The library will be used by myself, the Library Media Specialist, and students. The source worksheet will be used by students during independent practice, and headphones will also be used by students for visual and auditory sources. The smartboard or projector will be used by myself and the Library Media Specialist to teach the lesson and model online source location. Computers will be used to teach students how to locate books in the library as well. A PowerPoint will be used in teaching students how to evaluate sources of information. The library will be used by students to locate sources in books and used in the modeling or instructional process. Pencils will be used by students to complete the worksheet during independent practice. The worksheet will provide students with independent practice and the guidance they need to provide the information for where the source was found, as well as guidance in evaluating the sources. Headphones will be used by students when locating audio and visual sources. Section 6, Evaluation. At the end of the lesson, I will use the source worksheet to evaluate student understanding of the lesson. Questioning will allow a formative assessment as a whole group. I will also use formative assessment tools to evaluate student learning as they practice independently through observation. Students will be allowed to ask questions, and anecdotal notes will be made regarding any issues students have had with the lesson. My observations and student questions will allow me to determine student progress in learning the objectives. This evaluation will be used to determine students' ability to locate sources of information, as well as their ability to use critical thinking skills to evaluate those sources of information. I have chosen to use the worksheet to evaluate individual student understanding of the lesson. I have chosen this evaluation tool to determine if students are able to locate sources of information on their own, as well as evaluate the sources of information for their usefulness to their final presentation. Observing the students as they work will allow me to make a formative assessment regarding student understanding of the objectives and if students are able to locate sources of information and determine its usefulness. Questions will assist in this formative assessment process to determine student progress toward the learning objectives and if any clarification needs to be made or further review. Anecdotal notes will help me to determine if any learning difficulties are common amongst the class and to note which students had difficulty with the lesson. This concludes my lesson plan, sections 4 through 6. Thank you.